Hello, this is a video to help you learn more about buying real estate at a low price via tax sales or foreclosure sales, bank repossessions. My name is Pamela Jackson. This is my office at my home. This is a very impromptu and informal video. So you will probably at some point hear my family in the background. You may even see somebody walk through the video because I share this office with a couple of other people, namely my husband and business partner who is sitting right over there. And he's waving. And so I'm going to provide you with as much information as I can. Very little information that you will not need. So pay attention to everything. This is a free video. The reason I'm offering you this information is because we have done this for a while now. We've been successful at it, and we feel that the tips we have help other people, but everyone seems to ask us the same thing, which is, will you give us hands-on experience? Will you teach us? Will you help us? About a month ago, a couple of friends of mine where I used to work really were adamant that, hey, we not only need the documentation, we need a class. Well, I don't have time to teach a class. I cannot put into one class all of the information we've learned, but what I could do was put it in a document. I could write it out. I can give you examples. So that's what this video is all about today. I'm going to give you information that when you are done watching this sort of lengthy video, you will not only have the information you need, but you'll also get a bonus at the end of this video if you stuck around to the end. I have a little list here of about 5 bullet points I'm going to go through and talk to you on. Hopefully, you will have time to write this information down. So I gave you a little bit about why I'm doing this. I want to just caveat that by saying I believe there are more people out there just like my couple of friends. But to my friends who will probably be watching in a moment, I want to tell you that you are getting this information firsthand from me. I'm going to hand deliver it to you, but please watch the whole video because it is going to be additional to the information that I handed to you. Qualifications. So, my name is Pamela Jackson. My husband is Pastor James Tibbs Jackson. And together, we are ICDAT CWSM2. ICDAT CWSM stands for I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. So, with that, I'll explain to you about our company. What we do is we manage real estate. We buy real estate, we sell real estate. We are not real estate brokers. This is our business. We rent property that we buy and we sell it to invest in more property. We use that income to then support Notion in Motion, NIM, which is NIM that you see here on my shirt. You can go to nimkc.com and learn more about us. You can go to ICDATCWSM.com and learn more about us. That's ICDATTCWSM. And you will see that we do a multifaceted business. We write books. We're both authors. We provide information. We provide housing. We also, through Notion in Motion, which we support with our funds, we are able to do things for the community. We give out food at this time. For those watching in the future, this time frame happens to be coronavirus 19. So during this time, we are unable to go out into the community and do all of the things we would normally do with gathering people. So we do, however, feed those that we can and help where we can in the ministry. And we still keep that function going. We also work with young entrepreneurs. And so we have a pilot program that we work with right now. And we take our grandchildren and a few friends of theirs, and we teach them methods of entrepreneurship, how to have their own business, what to do, how to research, function, know their market, how to produce their products in a way that saves them money but makes them money. And so we invest in that, because what we want to do with this pilot program is have them teach others their age at some point and have them collaborate and do larger projects of entrepreneurship. So that's us in a nutshell. Additional, you want to know what qualifies us to sell real estate, besides the fact that we've been doing it for, oh honey, how long have we been doing it? About 20 years now? Okay, so besides that, what qualifies us is that for almost 10 years, I worked for the taxation division of the city municipality here, and administered the tax sales, which is what I'm going to be helping you with today. I administered the tax sales, and I can tell you the rules and different ins and outs, things you need to know. And the biggest thing was that people who made mistakes often came to the counter where I worked to argue their points, argue about their mistakes, and that helped us to know what the pitfalls were and are. My husband, Pastor Jackson, he's very well qualified because he worked the flip side of that. He was in codes enforcement and retired from that. And his job was to inspect and investigate the properties with codes violations. And so when we look at properties, he knows what properties likely have assessments against them or are probably on a list being investigated for code violations. When we look at those properties, I can tell you which properties have issues with the liens on them or taxes. And because part of my background also includes several years in banking and doing real estate transactions and loans. So with that, that is our expertise, not only in the business side of it, but also in the purchasing and buying and selling side of it. Now, let's get more into the mechanics of all this. Okay, so our grandchildren wanted to know, our adult grandchildren wanted to know, how can we buy real estate? How can we do what you do? You see, our children are following us, so we're very thankful for that, and they're in the business. But now our grandchildren are interested, and so we're passing this along. We want you to be able to do the same thing. So, in answering our grandchildren, we wrote out a lengthy explanation of all the information that's necessary. So I'm going to take a peek at what we wrote here, and I'll talk back to you. Now, my computer's here. You'll see some other screens here. That's a whole nother job, and that's going to be part of the bonus information I'm going to provide. But we have a calendar here. So if you don't have a calendar at your desk, you need to get a calendar if you're going to do this business. I have my motivation there, which is a picture of me and my husband. That's my motivation. I'm going to be retired with him one day. So we have a city license, and we have 2 licenses because we do business in 2 different cities. So be sure to get your license, get your business license, get your business license. Do everything on board. You're going to want to develop your company, your organization. What are you, a sole proprietorship? Are you an LLC? Do you want to be a corporation? I'm going to give you some tips about that in just a moment. So, here we have the letter that you'll be able to get in writing. Later I'll tell you how. But right now I'm going to just go ahead and give you the information. If you write it down, take notes, you'll have it. So the first thing I say is that this is a crash course. It's a crash course in learning how to buy property at a tax sale or foreclosures, bank repos. All right. So Primarily, our information is general so that you can apply it to any jurisdiction, any county jurisdiction. Counties, first of all, are who sells the properties at tax sales. Cities actually assess special assessments, so you have to, they usually combine with the county at the tax sale, but they are not holding the tax sale. So you have to do your research in both. The county taxes, liens against the property. Also, do your due diligence to find out what assessments the city has against the property. That's one of the first things we let them know. Be careful. There are different types of tax sales held by different counties. The information provided in this letter is for delinquent tax sales. Okay, be careful. So you have land bank sales. This is not information about land bank sales, but you can get that information in the same way that we're going to provide this. A land bank sale is going to be the county sells the land that it owns. You have attorney or administrator sales. Those are where the bank hires a legal entity to actually foreclose and then sell a property at the county. They're going to sell it outside on the county steps usually. Okay. Don't get that confused with the county tax sale. And then there are dollar house sales or HUD programs that sell at a greatly reduced price, sell properties that are in distress. But there are rules around those properties. Usually they want you to live in it for a while, fix it up, then you can have it. And some of those properties only cost $1. That's another program. It's not this one, but you'll find it in the same manner as you will the information that I'm going to provide to you. Okay. The last one is excess funds sales. Be careful that you are not engaging in the excess fund sales. Honey, you can come right around here. They don't mind you walking through the video, do you? Oh well, he went around the backside. He didn't want to bother you guys. He says bye. Okay. So, next in this document, we explain to participate in only one tax sale a year until you get your feet wet. Maybe the first 2 years you're only doing one tax sale. Don't try to do the tax sale in this county and the next county over and the next county over. This year, again, we've been in this 20 years. This year is our first year looking at doing more than one tax sale at a time. And that's only because many of the tax sales this year have been postponed or did not occur due to coronavirus. So we had to look outside of our immediate county so that we can increase our opportunities to do what we have set out to do. Our business still has goals. We still have requirements of what we want to do. So we are not going to let one county stop us from doing that. We are looking now at 5 counties at one time. But again, I would advise you, try one county at a time. Find one that's working, work that one. Okay, learn the rules. That's the next thing we say. Every website is going to give you the rules. Here are things you need to look for. When do I need to register? What information do I need to provide to register? How much will I have to pay at the time of the sale? How should those funds be provided? Am I willing to do that? You have to ask yourself, am I willing to sign up with my bank account? Am I willing to deposit $3,000 with you even though I don't spend that $3,000? Am I willing to wait the time it takes to get my money back? Not every website and county will require that, but some will. So you have to know the rules and ask yourself, are you ready to do that? Also, do your research in advance. If you don't have the money ready right now, start researching right now, because next year when you have the money, you'll be that much further ahead. Okay? You want to learn the rules and ask things, look for information or call the county and ask them if you can't find it about whether or not you actually get a tax deed, actual deed, or is this just a certificate of ownership until 3 years have passed, and in which case the current owners get to redeem the property. How does this work? You look through those documents that they provide you on the website. Make sure you understand this information. Make sure you know, is that the direction you want to go. If you want to own the property outright at the tax sale, then find the county that provides it that way. Think about this. If you purchase a property 2 counties over, how many miles is that? Are you able to continuously go there at least a few times a week in the beginning to check on the property, fix it up, do what you have to do? Are you willing to go that distance on a regular basis to check on the people you have hired to work on that property, and so forth? Think about those things. And it's all tax deductible, by the way. We'll talk about that in a moment too. Okay, the next thing I provide information about is to view the listed properties that interest you. The tax sale list is going to be very long. View the properties that interest you, not all the ones that have the lowest price, or all the ones that are listed first. Look through it, figure out what order they're listed in. Sometimes they're listed by parcel number. That's an identification number, not the address for that property. Find out how that relates to the actual physical property that we know, address that we know. We normally call it a few numbers, southwest, east, or whatever, and then a street, right? But the county usually identifies it by parcel numbers. So see how that information transfers and relates to one another, and then figure out your listing, and then figure out which properties are really ones you want to look at, because it can take you at least a day to get all the information you need to have on just one property. So you don't want to spend your time looking at properties that really aren't the ones you would have been interested in the first place, because they look exciting and it's all such an exciting process, right? Okay, so be sure to only pick out the ones you're interested in so that you don't waste your time. Your time is very precious, and you'll find out it's very valuable. If the website provides GIS information, mapping information, look at that information. Here's the great thing, is that most counties will provide that information free, and it allows you to actually see the property lines. When you can see those property lines, you can also see the improved property that's on there. So if there's a building, if there's 2 buildings, if there's a detached garage, you're going to see all of that information. You want to see that information, because if there are no markings for a building, there is no building there. This means that you can see a building in a picture that's on a website because you looked up that address. You can see it on Google Maps, but the most current information is going to be on the GIS mapping for that county. If you do not see property lines that outline the actual building, the structure lines, there is no property there. It's been demoed. You need to be aware of that. Drive by the property always. Never. This is later in my information, but I'm going to provide it right now. Never. This is our advice to you. Never buy a property you have not seen personally yourself. Go there, look at it. If you're able to look into the windows because it's a vacant property, do that. Do not buy a property you have not had the opportunity to physically see and inspect yourself. Okay. Now, to be sure the property is still improved or has a building on it, drive by it. So we just talked about that. Check the city's website where the property is for assessments and anything that's been levied against it. So you want to know who else is going to be bidding against you. When you look up other liens against that property, it can be kind of tricky. Normally people get paid a lot of money to do it. So I'm going to tell you in a nutshell how to get it done yourself. Register of Deeds. You look for the Department of Register of Deeds. When you have pulled that up, sometimes there's a disclaimer you have to agree to, whatever. When you get into there, there is always an area that allows you to look at the grantor and the grantee. So if I am selling you a property, I'm the grantor, you're the grantee. And you want to put in the names of whoever is the owner of record for that property. That's going to be listed on the tax sale information when you're looking at that property. So it says Mary Jones owns this property. Then you're going to put in Mary Jones as the grantee because somebody would have sold her that property. You're going to put in the parcel number. You may cross-reference that with a lot number, but you'll put in as much information as you can, not too much because you'll constrain it too tight and you may not get your information that you are looking for. But you want to put in enough information that you can get a list to then begin to look at and pinpoint what documents will tell you how much that property was sold for. It will usually tell you that in the information that was recorded, and then that kind of tells you what the value was at that time, how long they've had it, maybe what's still owed on it, because if you don't see another document, reverse it and flip it for the grantee and grantor. You want to see where whoever turns up as the grantor, you want to see where they also filed a document and released that property and it was paid off. Because if not, if there is still a lien holder for that property, you're likely going to have some stiff competition bidding against you at the sale. So maybe that's not even a property you want to spend your time on unless you have the thousands of dollars to bid and pay them what they're looking for. Oftentimes, too, they'll drive up the price just to get a little more, so be careful about that. You really want to be safe in the beginning and go for the properties that you don't have the mortgagors bidding against you on. And finally, what information we've provided is that finally the day before the tax sale or early in the morning before the tax sale, you're going to want to go and drive by your properties one more time. So if you're buying properties that are a long ways away, make sure there is someone posted close enough to that property that can look at it and verify to you this property is still intact, everything's still good, go ahead and bid. So that means maybe you want to be looking, if you don't have other business partners in another city, maybe you only want to be looking in counties where you have family members there, somebody who's trusty that can go by for you and look at that property. Otherwise, make sure it's close enough in your vicinity that you can do your due diligence to drive by, eyeball that property, make sure everything's still intact. There are so many things that can happen. Somebody could be disgruntled, know their property's getting ready to be sold that morning, set that property on fire. What are you going to do about it? You're going to not bid on it. That's what you're going to do. You're going to do your due diligence, go drive by and find out, and then not bid on it. All right. Now, when you have finalized the properties that you want to bid on, put them in the order that you want for that day. You may not have enough money to buy 6 of the properties that you have on your list, right? Maybe your list has 6 properties. Can't buy all 6. So put them in order as to which one means the most to you. Now, here's the flip order that you have to know, is that the order you have may not be the order they get called during the actual auction. So you have to already know in your mind, will I take this one over this one? Will I take number 6 if it's called first over number 1? Will I just wait on number 6? If they called it before my number 1 property, I'm not going to spend the money on that. Or here's our tactic anyway. We say, well, if they call one that we really didn't want as much as another, we'll lower the amount we're willing to go. So if we were willing to pay $20,000 for a property and it was sixth on our list, but it gets called first before any of the rest of them, maybe we'll lower that to $10,000. Let's see what we get. If we get up to $10,000 and somebody bids $11,000, sorry, we're out the race because we're waiting on number one. So you have to know that beforehand. If you're working with a partner, you guys must be on the same page, because once you bid, they will recognize your bid and you can't take your bid back. So be on the same page with your partner. All right. Okay, here's a very important one. Don't buy a property with a mobile home on it. Why? Because you're not getting the mobile home. Mobile homes are not considered improvements to the land. They are separate. They're trailers. Even though they look like a home, you have to be very careful. Many of them can look just like a home, like it's built from the ground. Find out. Make sure you know, is that a mobile home that can be removed from that property? Because when you turn around and bid what you think is a great price, say you got that property for $35,000, you're thinking, man, I'm gonna turn around and sell this for $85,000, $90,000 and make me a pretty good profit. And then you go back to the property and there's nothing there but a piece of land. You'll be very disappointed. So make sure that what you're looking at is an actual improved structure on the land, and not, something with a basement or crawl space, and not a trailer home that can be taken right off the property, because that does not sell with the property. Now, you're getting down to the end now where you're going to be bidding and getting a property. I haven't found any counties that accept a personal check. So make sure you have your rules understood and you have met the requirements for what's needed. Many of them, you just need to bring a cashier's check that's already made out. Cashier's checks are going to be already made out. You get them from the bank. They'll be already made out, so know who you're making it to, because if it's made out to the wrong person or in the wrong way, they won't accept it. So have your cashier's check, or an easier way, but kind of lengthier, is money orders. I believe most places have a max on your money order of about $1,000. So then you may have to get quite a number of money orders. And then it's kind of tedious to sit and fill them all out with the company's name when you have to do it. But the cool thing about it is, if you don't use those money orders, if you don't get a sale that day, you can hold your money orders, go to the next sale somewhere else if you've planned out that, hey, I'm going to only buy property at one, but if I don't get any at this one, I'm going to this one, and so forth. Maybe you're doing trustee sales, which I'm going to provide information on that, but maybe you're doing trustee sales and there's one this week, one next week. You don't know who to write it to. Money orders work pretty good for that situation, even though it's timely and tedious to work with sometimes. Okay. The last thing I have on this letter is, we advise you, do not buy a property with all the money you have. Okay? So, you've saved up $40,000. And we've seen this happen all too many times. So, just want to warn you on it. Property you really want, the bid is now at $38,000. It's going slow. You had only budgeted $32,000 for it, but you know you got $40,000 saved up, and you can do this. You still in the race when you shouldn't be, because you had only budgeted $32,000 for it, but you believe because it's only you and one other person bidding now that you're probably going to get this property. And everything is so exciting. Oh man, it gets so exciting out there bidding back and forth. And you go ahead and bid that last $38,500. Maybe it gets up to the total $40,000. But you've gotten it and you've gotten over your budget. You need to recognize when this is occurring and just stop. Have your partner stop you. Even if you get in an argument with your partner because he stopped you and took your number pad or whatever it is, or she just made you stop. You stop because in the end, it's not going to be worth it. You're going to lose the property again. So here's what happens. The taxes are only for past taxes. Whatever taxes are accruing during that current year, so if you're having a tax sale in August, come December, you're going to owe taxes again on that property for the current year. Now, you just bought it because the people who had it couldn't pay taxes. Don't turn around and lose it because you can't pay taxes. So you need to have money set aside in your savings that is going to pay the current year's taxes. Now, even if the sale is a deed outright to you, a tax deed outright to you, and you get the property and there's no waiting period, there's always a semi-waiting period. And what that is that the sale itself has to be consummated. The sale has to be finalized. And so they go to court to do this. The county has a court case in which they finalize all these sales. That usually doesn't occur for 2 to 3 months. And so some places it begins to occur within a month and a half, but they set individual court dates. Some places it's 2 to 3 months, and they'll have everybody come between 2 to 3 days on a court docket. So you will have a slight waiting period there. And in that slight waiting period, you're not allowed to go into that property, fix that property, do anything to the property, secure the property. You're not allowed to do that. So if something occurs to the property, guess what? It's yours. It's your responsibility. You just purchased it. You have a slight interest in it, or you have an interest in it now that you've purchased it, although you don't own it. So let's say the grass gets very high. You aren't going to get a notice that the city's going to go out there and inspect it and say, hey, here's a violation. You actually just have to keep track of your property now. Go mow the grass, even though you can't go in the property, you can't do anything to the property. You have to take care of it. So you're going to have a need for money to be there for anything that comes up. One of our experiences is we had a property that had a hole in the roof. Rainy season was coming. Snow was beginning to happen, and they hadn't finalized our sale yet. Well, guess what? Nobody lived in it. We just had to take the chance to go ahead and have someone go tarp that roof for us because water and moisture was getting into the property and causing issues, okay? More issues than we wanted to pay for. So that's what we did. But there are situations that are even worse than that, and you have to have the money set aside. Now, here's the thing. Let's say everything goes right. Everything goes well. You're going to have a cost to improve the property, get it ready for sale, so forth. You're going to have a cost to sell it, to put it on the market, to do things you need to do. You want to have that money to pay your taxes. Guess what? You're going to want to insure your property. You want to insure your property because something could happen and then your investment is gone. What if the storm comes and tears your roof up? Or what if the kid across the street is doing fireworks and your house catches on fire? You want insurance. It takes money, right, to have insurance. Don't spend your last dime to get the property because now you have no way to work with the property. Don't go in debt either. You need your credit intact to be a good real estate entrepreneur. Okay? Now, that's just about everything I want to provide for you, except for some goodies. I want to share with you that you can go to several websites and help yourself with research. Now, let's see here. Now, this is a different document in which I provide lots of links. Links to just make the job easy. Click on this link, go check the county. Here's what you put in to check this information, that information. How can I check for trustee sales? How can I check for the foreclosure sales and other venues? How can I check for bank repos? And get all the information. And here's the thing. How can I do it for free, right? You want to be able to go to these websites and not have these websites tell you how much money it's going to take. Or you got to pay $30 a month here, $20 a month here to get this information. So, we have websites listed in our document to help. And let's see here. There we go. You probably can't see that, so I'm going to read a little bit of information to you. So, the first website we provide is treasury.gov. Write that down. You're going to be able to view the properties that are offered by the U.S. Department of Treasury. And there's actually two different websites there. But they both follow, two different web pages, but they both fall under the one website, treasury.gov. You can go to public notices. Public notices for any state. Public notices for any state. Legal newspapers will sell you public notices, but you can get public notices free under, let's see, you will exactly want to look under Associated Public Press. That's what you want to look under. Public notices. Press Association or Associated Press for public notices. Okay? And be sure to put your state in. You don't want just anyone. You want the state that you're looking for. And then you can get information for every tax sale for any county simply by putting in the county, the state, and tax sale. Do a search on that in your favorite browser. Bingo, you're going to have the information you need there. You can also go to logs.com. There will be a ton of information for about 33 different states. And again, you're going to be looking at the actual pictures of properties, the prices, when the auction is going to be. You're going to have all your information right there for free. For multiple state auctions, you can go to auction.com. You can also go to justice.gov, and that will provide the properties for being sold by the U.S. Department of Justice. You can go to the U.S. Marshals.gov. You can go to USA.gov, and you're going to be looking under auctions. You can go to the FDIC.gov. All of these are different government entities. So you know that there are drug raids. You know that there are arrests. You know that there are vehicles and so forth, things like that left on the road. All of this stuff is for sale. But guess what? It also contains properties, right? Real estate. So you can not only look for a diamond ring, but you can look for real estate. You can go to disposal.gsa.gov. That's also another government site. Now, here's my favorite, and I put it on here. You can go to properties.sc.egov.usda.gov. I know that's a long one, but that is a very good website, and I like it because they still incorporate the really good opening bids. You know, like opening bid is $7,000, opening bid is $3,000, that kind of thing. I like that. And finally, this is where we got our start, is the HUD website. You can go to HUD Homes Store. It's HUD, HUDHomesStore.com. And you can look up properties that they have for sale all across the United States as well. Look close to you. Now, that's all the information I have, except I told you I'd give you a bonus if you stuck around this long, right? So the bonus I have is that you may be thinking, $7,000, $10,000, $20,000. I don't have that kind of money just sitting around. We didn't either. We had to work up to it. We had to save up to it. So here's the ways that we did it, and I want to share this bonus with you. Every time you get a tax refund, if you happen to get one from the federal government, put the money up. Many of you might have gotten a stimulus check recently in the past few months. If you had the opportunity to put it up, you should have. I know plenty of people, myself, that felt it was an opportunity to get ahead on some things. So that's great. They were able to put more food in their house. They were able to keep some things going here or there. But the truth be told, we don't all have to do that. We don't all have to eat the same this week as we did last week. So if we had crab meat last week and we went out and had the shrimp boil, or we went out and had the steak dinner last week, and we've been really enjoying ourselves because that's what we're used to, you can actually curb that, right? And put up $100, $200 next week. You could do that once a month and start building your savings. Here's another thing you can do. If you have an entrepreneurial spirit, which is what you have to go into real estate, you can look at websites to do other things to gain some money in smaller amounts than real estate, but yet if you add them together, they become big enough amounts to buy real estate. So one of those is to buy and resell cars. Many of the websites I just provided to you also have links to be able to buy cars, but guess what? Every county, just like they sell real estate, every city has or I should say most cities. There's small cities that maybe don't, but most cities have an auction website where they sell the cars that are left on the side of the roads, the cars that have been confiscated because they arrested somebody and they didn't come back and pick up their vehicle out of the impound. Many of these vehicles run great. They're just ready to resell. There's a few things on them, which is usually there may not be a key with it. So you have to have the vehicle rekeyed. You might have to have it towed from the tow lot to your house when you first buy it because you don't have a way to drive it. It might be on a flat. Maybe that's why it was left on the side of the road on the highway in the first place. So you have to think about those kind of things. That will be a monetary investment along with the few $100s or whatever you spent to get it. My husband bought a truck for $700. That's when we learned, through that process, that's when we learned that in order to get the title, there's also a waiting period and time investment and money investment to do that. So whatever the capital is for your state, you usually have to send some documentation there, send a check. You get on the website, find out, for your capital city, how to get your title for that type of vehicle. It's not a normal process like going down to the DMV. So you have to mail off for it, and then you have to wait for it. Once you get it, then you can work with it as a regular vehicle and go down and sell it, do whatever you want to do with it from that point. So that's a way, though, to get some property really cheap. You get these vehicles really cheap, sell them for a lot more, 2 or 3 times what you had invested in it overall. Put that money aside, start building it up. That's one way. Or maybe you might feel like you're really into that and you want to leave real estate alone. That's a good thing. That for you. That's what you want to do. Do that. to give you a start at how to look at those, you could go to oaiauctions.hibid.com/lots. They sell in almost every city vehicles. GSA also sells vehicles, gsa.com. Now, maybe you're good at doing some work for people. Just on your own schedule, you're an entrepreneur at heart. Then go to freelance.com. Freelance.com is where people all over, not only this country, but other countries, put jobs on there. They need some work done. Things that you can do from your home in the evenings, during the day, whenever. You just get on your computer, you get it done. They have typing jobs. They have research jobs. They have jobs to build websites. That's one of the things that we did for a long time that helped fund the work that we were doing to just put up money to buy property. We built websites, and we did it using WYSIWYG software. That means what you see is what you get. It's just regular software. You go on there, you build a website, and boom, give it to the people. That's what they're looking for. That's what our customers were looking for. So we did that for several years. You can do something like that, or you can. They have requests for people to do artwork. Maybe you're a good artist. Maybe you're a good storyteller. They have people who want writing, even poetry, different things. You can look on freelance.com, find out if there's jobs that you can do. If so, you just develop your profile, sell yourself is what you're doing. If you have some examples of work, put your examples, links to your examples of work. So it may take you a week or two to really develop a great profile and look professional, right? If you sat down and you did your profile in an hour, I don't know. It could be that you had everything ready already. But most of the time, it takes people a week or 2 weeks to really gather the information, develop the links and documentation and examples that they want to attach to themselves to be professional and to make themselves look good. Go through and look at other people's profiles. You'll see the ones you don't like, see the ones you think are great, and be somewhere that you want to be with your profile. Polish it up, make it look good, then start letting people know for these different jobs on freelance.com, hey, you'd like to take that job. You know, sometimes they'll tell you what it's paying. Sometimes you get to tell them, this is what I'll do it for. And so that's great. They'll tell you, yeah, I'll take it for that. Or they will bargain with you. Okay? Put the money up. Don't forget, that's what we're talking about. Making some money on the side that you can start putting up. Next year, go to the tax sale. Then you make, the $50,000 at a time or $100,000 at a time on reselling your property. Or holding your property and just renting it out. That's a whole nother video that maybe we'll do in the future. But we like to hold properties and then sell later. Because when you hold the property, you can rent it out. And we rent through Section 8. Some people don't like to rent through Section 8. We love it. But you can rent it out. Get that trusty paycheck every month of $1,000, $800 for property, whatever. Put that money up, pay the taxes and the insurance on it once a year. After 3 or 4 years, you not only made your money back, but you have money in the bank. Now, your market, you sell when the market's great for you. Right now, properties are selling. If you're an owner of a property, you can get good money right now. The market's good all over the nation. But that's not the great time to buy. So put the money up right now. Then the property that you've been holding, when the market goes back up, that's when you sell. You want to sell it when the market is good to sell. Okay, you can also go to guru.com. Guru.com is the one I actually started on. Freelance, I went to after that, but I worked on both. You can go to guru.com and find jobs as well. Let's see. That's the bonus I wanted to provide you with is how to make some money to make some money. Okay, easier to get into those because it doesn't require a lot of upfront investment. Buying your properties, you need upfront investment, right? So do one to get the upfront investment to do the other. All right. And lastly, I did tell you that I would mention about doing sole proprietorship, LLC, corporation. So there's a thing of double taxed. Okay, you can be double taxed if you are an LLC, depending on how you're doing it. The requirement is that an LLC, because it is an entity by itself, it pays taxes. So if you and two other people own a company, you need to be an LLC because it won't be a sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship is where one person owns it. And I'll caveat that in a moment. But one person owns a sole proprietorship. If three of you own your business together, it's going to be an LLC. But when you file taxes to the federal government for IRS, the LLC needs to fill out its tax form, pay taxes on everything the business made, and then whatever was paid out of that business to the three of you, you file your own individual taxes. And guess what? Even though the business, the LLC, made $100,000 that year, you spent and you gave out $20,000 to each of you and left the rest of the money in there as investment. So when you file your taxes, even though you already pay taxes on it as under the LLC, you're going to pay taxes on that $20,000, $20,000, $20,000 again, each individually on your federal taxes because that was income to you. That's the double tax method. So if you are going to set up an LLC, just know that that's just inherent in having an LLC. Now, I want to caveat sole proprietorship being one person, and I'm going to give a caveat to the LLC. If you are married, a sole proprietorship can be recognized as a partnership, like an LLC, for the sake of taxes. You can file it. It will still be the same as one person, but both of you can work it and own it as husband and wife, according to IRS. Okay, so you can both have an interest in it. In other words, if it's an LLC, you can have an LLC as an individual, even though it's not a partnership with more than one person. You can have it as an LLC, but you can also file with IRS as an individual because it's really owned by an individual. You can file as personal taxes. Now, that begins to remove some protection that you have because if you were to be sued, they could argue the fact that you really don't operate as an LLC or as a separate entity because you mingle it as one person when you file your taxes. So you got to think about those things. You might want to know, what do we choose? We choose sole proprietorship because we don't have a high impact or probability of being sued like a doctor would or a lawyer would. They're definitely going to want to go the LLC route or even being incorporated, which again is the double tax standard. So, final thing I'll tell you about is tax deductions. Keep every receipt. Everything you do, whether you go the freelance route, whether you already have some money saved up or you're just going to take money out of your regular payroll check, put it up in the bank, go to the tax sale, keep every receipt of everything that you do. Because when it comes time for taxes and you have to file, you can get your deductions for things that pertain to business that you didn't even think about at the time. Maybe you needed to buy a laptop. Maybe you needed to buy a printer. Keep that receipt. That's business related. If you got your business license and you're going forth in business, the time of preparation for your business, you want to get your business license at the beginning. All of that time of preparation is business. That's called your ramping up phase. Keep your receipts for everything you're doing during your ramping up phase. Now, you can't charge yourself or charge time because you're sitting here doing your own research. You can't do that. But if it costs you something, you can. If you got on a website, everything I provide to you is free. But if you got on a website and it costs you, guess what? You can charge for that. And you may be thinking right now, you provided a lot of information, lady, and I didn't get to write it all down. I'm going to have to watch this whole video all over again. Well, I'm going to tell you, no, you don't. So, as a help to you, if you want to pay for the documentation and have it already, I'm going to allow you to do that. You can go to my Cash App. Okay? You can go to Cash App, and I am $Buff P Jackson. That's capital B UFF, capital P as in Pam, capital J Jackson. Okay? I am $Buff P Jackson. Hit me up on Cash App. Give me $10. Put in the comments that you want a listing of the links. I will give you a listing of the links. Soon as I see that money come in, I will turn around and email you. Now, your email has to be in there. I believe I will get your email with your payment, but make sure you put it in the comment section. Put your email address and that you want a list of all the links. And I will give you my 3-page document of the links, okay? So, and there's a little additional information in there to, give you some nuggets of stuff you need. Now, let's say that you also want the document of the whole class of information, the crash course document that are provided to our adult grandchildren. I will provide that and the links for $20, but not via Cash App. So don't send me $20 in the Cash App, because I'll send you 2 copies of just the links. If you want the full document, the links and the training course, look here and write down this website. Go to our website. This page right here will provide you with the opportunity to pay online and $20 and to get the full document. All right? Hope you guys have the greatest success ever. Hope you're not only able to be successful at it yourself, but you're able to pass it on in your family and own real estate. All right. Congratulations. You're on your way.